Welcome back. Thanks for sticking through the break. I decided I want to play more pinball. This is really quite addictive, and I feel like we were getting somewhere yesterday. So if you're unfamiliar, this is Demon's Tilt. It is a digital occult-themed pinball table that takes full advantage of being a digital pinball table and has some really neat features as a result. It's only got one table. It's got 3 tiers on the table, and then a few sub-tables that you can unlock. I've been playing on hardcore mode, which is 1 ball, and the physics are it's a heavier ball. Mainly because even with 3 balls, most of our score has been happening on just one of them anyway, so I should make sure the music is randomized, because that was a lot of fun last time. Yeah, it's still random. Okay. There's a lot going on this table, and I'm still sort of figuring it out. So each of the 3 levels has its own ritual. It's got a specific location to shoot to start it, and then it looks for a specific thing, like usually a number of specific targets to be hit to complete it, which will go through the letters. Seems like the ritual start is always the same, but it cycles through on what it wants hit for targets to complete it. There's a lot of stuff going on this table that I really have no idea how it works yet. The game tells you very little. It's also got a tilt mechanic that you can use WASDA to tilt the ball itself and not the table, which is weird. Aw. So crazy surprise. Last time I ended all lovey-dovey, came back, people died, arcade was sold interventions, and now you get saboteurs and gunfights. Yep, there's a lot going on in Arcade Spirits. And now we're playing Demon's Tilt, Occult Pinball Action. So you can see in the bottom right, there's the skull and the little thing there. As I use the tilt, it'll start to fill up, and if it fills up completely, the table will tilt. I have to get used to trying to use it more often, so it becomes more natural when I should actually be for sure using it to save a ball. Or eventually, not just to save a ball, but to get it to go somewhere I'm trying to accomplish. Like there, I tilted to keep it from running down the gutter. I still have no idea what's going on with the dice or how that works. Not the faintest. Been trying to pay more attention to what happens with certain features on the table as they go. There's a lot to keep track of. So one thing that's interesting is as you hit different features, those pink bullets will come out. They get points when you hit them, but they also kill your ball's momentum when they come into contact, so you have to be really, really careful about them. Okay, now we have to get back over to the pop bumpers. And as usual on pinball tables, try to stay as high up as you can. So as you drop down levels, you are further away from draining the ball. It helps I can confirm this dice move. Nice! That's a good start. This is increasing our multiplier, which really massively improves score. Ooh, we saved it. Don't you dare. I don't really know what happens with the slots either, but we had a good run. I think that's a high score for this mode for me. Oh, that's definitely a high score for me for this mode. Yeah! We've almost knocked all of the default entries off of the list. Dang it. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know this is not my, my first digital pinball game. There are some good and bad ones that I grew up on. I never did try to go back and figure out why that one table for Extreme Pinball wasn't working and try to get that going. Maybe someday we'll revisit that, but it's probably not good enough to warrant it. Why is it called pinball? Aren't pins more of a bowling thing? Originally, pinball was more like pachinko, where the ball would drop and there would be pins on the table that it would bounce off of and make its way down the table. That's where the original name comes from. And then they started getting mechanically more complex. I love classic pinball tables. They're simple, but it's all mechanical, and it's so cool. More modern kind of physical pinball tables are kind of a crapshoot for me. I'm really, really not good at keeping track of any of the marquee stuff. I've only kind of been able to keep track of it on this one, because it's really, really simplified over on the side here with just the bare bones, and I've been getting familiar enough with the table to do so. But the actual, like, marquee, it's a separate thing than the table itself. I cannot keep track of that at all. Doesn't help that I also wear glasses and, they're narrow and I don't have a ton of peripheral vision because my prescription is massive. So that does not help me be able to focus on both things. So I've come across a few tables that don't rely too much on the marquee, which is nice. The info thing, panel. Nope, I should have cradled that. But it's kind of nice with the older tables, because that's not a feature. Like, the pure mechanical ones, for sure. But there's a few I've played that weren't too bad on that respect. There's a Lord of the Rings table at a local barcade. It's actually pretty fun. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but it actually plays through, it's based on the movie. On the movies, and it plays through the trilogy. I took it as a personal achievement that I think I was there for a couple hours at most. I played a few other things and then settled in on that one because I was kind of getting the hang of it and liked the feel of the table. But by the time I left, by the time I had to leave, I'd at least made it to the second movie. I considered that an achievement for having spent only a couple hours on it. You have trouble keeping track of the ball? On a physical table, not as badly. On this, sometimes. I have the glowing turned on. I can turn on a ball trail, but I found that kind of almost makes it more difficult for me because it's already so busy because of all the bullets. It's a description that this game has had that I forgot to mention last time is been referred to as pinball bullet hell, which is a bizarre descriptor, but accurate. Honestly, I've just gotten better at knowing the table and being able to be more purposeful in my shots. So, when I do lose track of the ball, I know where I expect it to be. and that helps a lot. If you can help the balls on the board right now, awesome. Good call. That's where I expected it to be, so excellent teamwork. We're doing great. We'll have a high score in no time. In case you hadn't noticed, the green bushy portals will teleport you to a different section of the board. There's different ways to unlock them. But they are consistent in that when you have a certain one, it will always go to the same different place on the board. You sure the ball isn't flying? No. I mean, we are going up a tower. There's so much detail in the background that I don't pay attention to because I can't. Like, there's little buildings up there and stuff. And it has parallax. Good old Mode 7 parallax. I don't remember if that was on any... I think that was only on SNES. I don't think NES had, the power for Mode 7. Flying can refer to speed too. Yeah, well, the ball's definitely flying in that sense. But we're getting some time, some speed on it for sure. Maybe the board is flying. Maybe we're flying. Huh? Anything's possible. For anyone unfamiliar, Mode 7 is basically a trick used on Super Nintendo to give depth of field, with the kind of parallax thing where as you move, the stuff in the foreground will move faster than the stuff in the background. And it was utilizing a layer system in the build, and Mode 7 is just the name of whatever the internal... I don't know enough about it to speak super intelligently about it, but I know that Mode 7 was the name of the mode they put it in to make it work, and then it got very popular and stuff, especially like Final Fantasy, where they had an extra... They didn't need all of the layers for the what was going on screen. They could use one for a background to give it more depth and a parallax effect. There are lots of places online that you can read up on it that will have more information and probably correct anything I have said that wasn't correct. I'm working off of some deep memories here. So if you find that interesting and want proper information, it is definitely out there, but that's what you would need to look for to find that information is Mode 7. It was very cool, some of the different, like, hacks that came about to maximize what little memory and processing power older systems had. Very, very cool creative problem solving. And some things that ended up, dang it, being stylistic choices later on when they were no longer required, but they were born out of that sort of necessity. Creativity within limitations can be very, very interesting, especially within technical limitations. On the other hand, that makes some retro games impossible to port to newer systems or anything without a total ground-up rebuild, because sometimes they were built around particularities of either the system's operating system or the hardware itself that can't be replicated on a different system. Space Invaders difficulty wasn't made on purpose? Yeah, stuff like that. If you want to share that one, go for it, because I know a little bit about that, but not enough to speak on it intelligently, so if you would like to have fun arcade fact time. I welcome it. Plus, I might learn something I didn't know, which is always funsies. Dang it. That was an awful start. Gotta get better at flipping into those bumpers on purpose, because that's the second, ritual goal for the mid-level. Dang it. We are not doing so great here. Womp womp. Some of this I'm gonna chalk up to the foolhardiness of playing hardcore mode while streaming and watching a chat. The fact that we've made any progress at all while doing that is, I feel, fairly commendable. Dang it. It's okay, we have our rebound there. I don't think I could have saved that one. This is the sort of table there probably was a way, and I'm just not aware of it or skilled enough to pull it off consistently. Which is what we're practicing. And learning. Alright, we got that ritual letter. No! All the way down the bottom. Should have tilted that one. Man, we had that one really good one to start, and then just... then some less good. There are some bonkers high scores on the global leaderboard for this game. People have gotten extremely good at it. And learned all of the table features inside and out. It's really impressive. Like, multi-billion scores. Whoa, indeed. I mean, this game's been out since 2019, I want to say. I think that's what it said on the loading screen. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, that's apparently the, highest number it can go there, as we have several people there. Yep. Weren't always at the same speed. They always went at the same speed. Hardware isn't foolproof. Having a lot of sprites was difficult. As you killed them, it ran smoother. Yep. It looked like they increased in speed. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I was talking about, where that would have to be rebuilt from the ground up for anything else, because it's taking advantage of... I mean, it's unintentional and then turned into... It's the classic case of it's not a bug, it's a feature. But, because it was just using the FPS, basically, of the CPU cycles. That's really common for old PC games and DOS games especially, that a lot of games had timing based on the CPU, because there was a limit to what CPUs could do at the time, so it was a pretty consistent cap. But when you try to run them on systems with better CPUs, they can run way, way, way too fast or have really, really weird side effects. Just part of the reason why DOSBox is such a powerful app. DOSBox is a DOS emulator shell that runs in Windows, but it has some ways to, I don't know if the CPU slowdown is built into DOSBox now. It used to not. You used to have to run a secondary program to basically artificially tell the game that the CPU was running slower so it would time properly. I think that's built in now. DOSBox is... I don't think it's a multi-digit version, but it's been around a long time. It's a very, very powerful program, and infuriating when it doesn't do what I want it to do, because I'm not as familiar with it as I'd like to be, because I don't need it super, super often. That's the software I used for streaming Commander Keen, and also Extreme Pinball. I think those are the only DOS ones I've had so far on stream. So it is a bear to get that to capture properly in OBS. I remember spending a day and a half reading up and patching and trying different things to get it to capture properly and at the proper size. Running it on the CPU be game over in a matter of seconds. Yep. That was with Commander Keen being an official Steam release with a pre-configured DOSBox. It still took me a day and a half to get it to capture properly. Extreme Pinball I had to find a image of. It was not an updated one for more modern OSs, and I had to configure that one. Fortunately, I'm stubborn. I do have some experience of wrangling DOS back in the day as well, but mostly I'm stubborn. Game over! Yep. Oh, I know what I should bust out sometime. Raptor, Call of the Shadows. That was a Windows one, but it was an old, vertical shmup that I played a lot of back in the day and got decent at then. I doubt that muscle memory has lasted, but I haven't touched that one in quite some time. GOG had a release that should work on more modern Windows. Also, someone, or the, did a more modern remake of it with a different name. It might be by the original developers. One of those, they wanted to remake it, but they didn't have the rights to the name, so they basically remade it and gave it a different name. Tyrion 2000, I think, is the name of that one. I own that one, too. I'm not always particularly good at shmups and bullet hells, but I do enjoy them. That being said, I have no interest. I never had any interest, and I still have no interest in playing Ikaruga. That way lies madness. If you're not familiar, Ikaruga was originally on GameCube. It is a shmup, short for shoot 'em up, so it's a either horizontal or vertical scroll. In this case, it was vertical. If you're familiar with Toho at all, those are all vertical bullet hell shmups. Basically because it scrolls and you shoot the things. Horizontal ones like 1942 was a real popular one. I'm trying to remember if Gyrus was as well. But it was a classic arcade staple style of game that obviously has arrived. And bullet hell is exactly what it sounds like. There's a lot of enemy bullets, and you have to not die and take out the enemies. If you ever want bonkers music with surprisingly detailed anime girls and a bullet hell shooter, go check out the Toho series. They have a massive fan following. There's a ton of fan games, too. Still rediscovering the world of video games so far. I feel like gravitate towards more retro games. That makes sense. That would especially make sense if they were, end up being some of the ones that you grew up with. That you're feeling a connection with, even if you don't have the memory of it. Alright, so Ikaruga. So Ikaruga is a vertical shmup bullet hell. Well, most of them, you shoot the things and you dodge the things. Ikaruga has another level of difficulty, in which some of the enemies are light, and some of them are dark. And you have to shoot them with the opposite color. And you have to also have the correct color shield to block their shots, because you can't just dodge them all, because the game is absurdly difficult. And both of the colors will be on screen at the same time, and you have to just switch back and forth with your shots and your shield, and also not die and kill the things. And it's absurd. It's a very cool game. And I love shoot 'em ups, but that's one I was never tempted to actually pick up and play myself. I do not have that level of skill. Or talent. Or skill and talent together. It's very cool. I highly recommend, if you can find a video of someone playing it who knows what they're doing in that game. It is absolute absurdity. And impressive as all get out. Some games called Castlevania and my stuff. Music sounds similar to this game. Yes. This is very Castlevania influenced. Castlevania is the first one was on original NES. You are Simon Belmont, a famous vampire hunter, and armed with your whip, you are making your way through a castle and fighting enemies and trying to take on Dracula. It was very, very cool that it had, I don't remember if the first one did, but it had sub-weapons that you could pick up with limited charges that had different effects and were strong against different things. Also a very, very large element of exploring, where you don't know what way is the correct way, you explore and try different things, and different power-ups and stuff that you pick up will let you get further into the castle. Very Metroid style. In fact, the genre called Metroidvania is basically that sort of 2D, usually 2D, exploration with variable weapons and massive places that are usually gated off by abilities, come from Castlevania and Metroid. Castlevania's a good time. I've played a little bit of the original. I had a couple of the... I had one of the Game Boy Advance ones that was real good. Harmony and Dissonance, I think. There's a ton of entries in the series, and they had sort of a soft reboot that's more of an action-style thing after God of War became popular. I've heard they're pretty good, but it's definitely a departure from the classic Castlevania formula. So that's where the second half of that term comes from. Yep! Metroid and Castlevania. Metroidvania. But those are a lot of fun to sink some time into and explore. They usually have real good music and very cool visuals. I'm trying to think if I have any streamable Castlevania. I might have the NES one. I have my GBA one, but I definitely don't have a way to stream that currently. Maybe I'll check the Switch virtual library and see if it's in either the NES or SNES. I'm not particularly good at those ones, but I could still probably show them off. I might have one of the NES ones in a box somewhere, and I have the stuff I need to play an older system. In fact, I do have the stuff. I have the, I completely forgot I picked up the USB capture card for GameCube, which means I can run anything with just standard AV cables without having to run it through an HDMI converter and be a huge pain. Basically researched and picked up the one that all the speedrunning community was saying was good for consistency and low latency and lag. I'm like, well, if it's good enough for the speedrunners. Look some of it up, though. It's important judging by the amount of Castlevania games I have. Oh, fun. I mean, we could play this for a little bit longer, and I can quick hop over to grab my Switch and see if Castlevania is on the... I have the Switch Online thing. Not the Plus one, but the regular one. So if it's on... One of the Castlevania games is on either the NES or SNES emulators from just the base online stuff, I could bust out one of those. We could experience some classic Castlevania together. I'm just gonna flip back and forth between these ramps and not accomplish anything at all. That sound like a good plan? I thought it sounded like a good plan. Also, if you've seen any Vampire Survivors on Twitch or YouTube, I've played a little bit of that as well. That is a straight-up love letter to Castlevania as well, on the graphics and music and sound and everything. Totally different style of gameplay, but stylistically it is definitely inspired by Castlevania. It's also where the term wall chicken comes from, because in Castlevania you can... There's lots of secrets. You can get all sorts of bonuses and sometimes the sub-weapons and stuff from breaking, like, candelabras and stuff. But you can also hit, like, false walls, and that's where the power-ups are hidden, which is chicken. So, you hit a wall, it breaks, and there's a chicken to heal you, hence wall chicken. Dang it, I'm trying to get up into the pop bumpers. It's not coordinating. It's the opposite direction of the pop bumpers. Alright, let's get through those bullets. Okay. Nope. That was not what I was trying to do. Womp womp. Good start, good start. I will say when I'm playing this and I'm not streaming it, there's a lot more swearing. As in, at one point, my husband came in to make sure I was still enjoying the game I was playing, because there was a lot of very loud swearing. You can stop if you're not having fun. Like, no, I'm gonna be not bested by this. Alright, I'm gonna hold this for a sec. I might be able to drop it back into the cup and have it launch back up to the top again. Nope. It's close. Okay, now we have to get the soul demons for the first one. Alright, we'll just go up here then. Shut up, I am having fun, leave me alone. Basically. Like, I know! It's fine! I mean, to be fair, I've had the same question to him playing video games, too, so... It's not just an exclusively me thing. Come on. I can't stop or else the game wins. Yeah, and also... No, don't put that hoodoo out into the world right now. Because I'm eventually going to stop. Because this is the sort of game that you don't win. You eventually drain and you lose. But it's how good of a score you got along the way. Hey, get some multiplier. Now I try to not lose the ball immediately. While Lilith does something up there. No, no, no. Okay. That's a case where I almost lost the ball, but I had done that sequence enough to know about where it should be, so I knew where to watch for it to drop. Seeing some Metroid, but no Castlevania. That's a shame. I'm way better at Castlevania than I am Metroid. Although I did enjoy the one I played on, I played Fusion on Game Boy Advance. That was a good one. That was a good time. Game Boy Advance had some real solid stuff on it, I'll tell you what. Well, for next week, I'll check and see if I have one of the original Castlevanias on NES, and I'll see about getting that set up, because I know the NES isn't currently set up. It's in a box, as are all the games. So that would be a little bit longer than I would want to do on just a break midstream. But we are finishing up Arcade Spirits Thursday. Dang it. That was a good run. But when that's done, I don't know what I'm gonna hop to next, and I'll probably wait to do... So I tend to do a couple of shorter things and then hop back into something longer. So... maybe I'll do... I have a couple of weird, multi-systems that I've gotten as gifts after, patents ran up that have some arcade stuff, but also, like, some Genesis stuff and NES, maybe SNES? One of those might have a Castlevania on it, too. I'll do some digging around the house and see what I have that I might be able to stream from. See if we can get some Castlevania all-up-ins. The classic Castlevania. I know I could stream the, like the 360 one, or the PS3 one, but that's a different style of game. And again, I won't necessarily be good at it, but I can at least show off some of it. Honestly, Rogue Legacy is not a bad analogy. To it either. It's basically Castlevania, that style of game, with a rogue-like shell. Like, mechanically, it's very Castlevania. I think of some of the bigger Metroidvania stuff lately, like, Hollow Knight. It's incredibly Metroidvania. obviously what you know of Castlevania is what you picked up from gift sets on Tumblr and Netflix series. I haven't seen the Netflix series. I heard it was good. I'm guessing a lot of the Tumblr gift sets were memes from Symphony of Darkness. That was the N64 one with the heavy air quote voice acting. It's the what is a man but a miserable pile of secrets. Proudly finished your first game since the accident. It was on very easy difficulty. Hey! Finishing a game is finishing a game, and that's awesome. May I ask what game? Because that's awesome. I'm stoked. I'm so glad to hear that. I am the opposite of gatekeeper. If you play a game, you are a gamer. Turns out, there's no qualification beyond that. And if you finished a game, that end of story. You finished a game, that's awesome. Oh, goodbye, ball. I had a hard time getting over that myself, especially being a female in video gaming space. It's better now than it used to be, but I used to have to immediately kind of go on the defensive against people gatekeeping and me having to prove that I deserve to be in the space, which is why I'm so anti-gatekeeping. But fortunately, my really trying to find out and absorb a lot of info about things that I enjoy lends itself well to basically being able to politely tell those people to get stuffed after I usually pass their dumb test whatever that I don't care about because it's all BS. Like, yes, I know my stuff. I shouldn't have to prove it to you. It shouldn't matter. Fun things don't need a barrier to entry. Gatekeeping now have a nice thing to cut those parts. Yeah. But as a result, I also ended up internalizing some of the less good bits of that from having to feel like I had to defend myself constantly. Like, one of the accomplishments I would bring up was doing Life Challenge of the Gods on God of War 1, because that's a really, really difficult thing to do, and it takes a lot of persistence and trial. But the fact that that had to be my go-to indicates that that's not great. But that kind of... I realized that when I was playing the newer God of War on PS4? Yeah, PS4. Which is a fantastic game, by the way. I put it on normal, so I'm like, well, I've played all the other God of War games, and on higher difficulties, and this is fine. I've done a lot of this. It turns out that the combat style is not classic God of War, but in fact, Dark Souls, which I haven't played. So I smashed my head against it for a while, and then eventually just went, you know what? This is not combat that I am familiar with or enjoying. I'm just putting it on easy, so I can play the game and enjoy it. I don't have anything to prove to anyone, I just want to play and enjoy the game. I mean, I did enjoy it, and I still ended up doing ridiculous things like, I took on the Valkyrie Queen. It was on easy, but it was still... Again, lots of swearing. A game called Prey. Touch on memory, identity, make some decisions as past self. Kind of saw yourself in. Yeah, that makes sense. Was it the more recent Prey? Like, what system was it on? Because there was a game on 360 that was called Prey, and then it had a sequel, and then it got sort of rebooted, kind of. Like, they made a game called Prey that was sort of loosely related to it and called it Prey. Like, games started doing a whole lot in the past 10 years or so. PS4? Okay, so that's a newer one. I've heard really good things about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I've heard good things about that one, and I've heard that it has a real cool story. You were in space? Nice. Space can be a fun place. Space can also be horrifying and soul-crushing and lonely, but it can also be real cool. I'll just take a look into that one. It's been on my radar for a while. But me being me and a gamer and ADHD means that I have a whole pile of things I have been wanting to play and have not even started. And sometimes I just want familiarity of something I've played before. I mean, to be fair, some of them I do get to eventually. The streaming has actually been helping with that, because it sort of gives me an excuse to pick something that maybe I've been meaning to play, but also feels like it would be fun to share and experience with other people. With no obligation that if I don't care for it, I'll just switch to something else, and just treat it as a, hey, we're gonna check this out, but if I like it, we're gonna play through it. That's been fun. That being said, there have definitely been things that I've picked up specifically, even though I have all this backlog of, that looks like it would be fun to stream, let's buy that and play that. Which I haven't regretted any of the ones I picked, but just kind of funny. Hey, if I ever make enough income from this for it to matter, I can write them off on taxes for tax burden. Mostly, I just appreciate having people hanging out and watching and enjoying with me. It's been very, very fun to have people to chat with and converse with and learn things and share weirdness. And teach people about some games they might not have known about otherwise. A lot was moving in camera at the same time. Zero gravity in all directions. Yeah, I still have issues with that in those sorts of games. Yeah, well, I enjoy learning stuff from you too, so yeah. I don't know why that came out so competitive. I think this game's getting to me. What have you taught? I don't know specifically. I don't keep track of that sort of thing. I can barely tell you what I've talked about in the last hour. But I know that I have learned things from you, and it's been awesome. And also the power of friendship, etc., etc., etc. Haha. The real teaching was the friends we've made along the way? Real friends are the things we learned along the way? Ah, something like that. The real lesson was all the demons we hit with a pinball along the way. Puns and thoughts. Oh, by the way, I forgot to put it on a timer, but I did actually make that VOD command. So if you ever want to link to the VOD channel, if you hit exclam VOD, it'll come up. When I have more commands, I'll make a panel for it. But that should be working. Because I was making the... things I learned from the Raid Shadow Legends stream, hilariously, was it made me actually go into the chat commands and timer menu and learn how to set that up, so been slowly applying that. Because I did exclam place for our place info for the cross-stitch stream, and then exclam VOD should get the stream elements bot to spit back some info and a link for my VOD channel on YouTube. Where all my VODs go. Almost all my VODs. Raid did not get a VOD. Some hardcore selling out. It was fun. Where does Hulyen come from? Internet started getting real big when I was late elementary school, early middle school. And I had a username that over time I didn't care for as much anymore. So I was trying to find something. And I was looking for things in other languages because I was an edgy teenager. You know, like all teenagers are, especially creative ones who do art and music and stuff. And I had found a random list somewhere that said that Hulyen was basically Yiddish for Hellraiser, and went, sure, that sounds fun. And here we are. That's where it comes from. And I've had it for a very long time. There is one other, like, notable figure online that uses that as a username, who's a very cool artist. They do comics and stuff, I think. But yeah, so sometimes I have to fight over who gets that first. Like, I ignored Twitter for a long time, so they have that on Twitter. But all the old, useless, decrepit internet stuff I've got it on, so, you know. Is it really Yiddish? I don't know, that one website several decades ago told me it was, and I don't think I verified recently. Initials and birth certificates, creative, not a creative 8-year-old or whatever. It's fine. It's a Kaido kid. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You and Phantom Thieves. I know your weaknesses. And then, I assume that Big Boss Sons is a Metal Gear reference. And I would assume that they have a collection of Metal Gear stuff with their Castlevania stuff. Haven't even played any of the Metal Gear Solid games, but I know more about that convoluted, bizarre storyline than I should, because I had coworkers that discussed it at length when 4 came out. Yep. From Metal Gear? Yep. So... oh boy. So the main character of Metal Gear Solid 1 and most of the rest of them is Solid Snake. He is the son of Big Boss, as is Liquid Snake. They might be clones. Oh god, you're gonna get a real half-cocked Metal Gear summary from me, because it's been a while since I've thought about any of this, and it's bizarre. So Solid Snake and Liquid Snake are brothers, and they're part of... one of them is part of one agency? And one is part of a different one, and Metal Gears are the big robots. Solid Snake is very gruff, and smokes a lot, and says that we have to stop Metal Gear. Also, everything in that world is hand-waved with nanomachines. That is a very strong plot point. Nanomachines, inappropriate humor, and... that's most of it. There are some fun subversions in that series. Two, I want to say, started off with... 2 or 3 started off with Solid Snake, and then partway through it switches to Raiden, who's this kind of weenie of a guy. And then you really just aren't Solid Snake for most of the game. It was a, like, complete bait and switch for a PS2 era game. They are tactical stealth action games, which is mainly why I haven't played them, because I'm not big on stealth. I'm much more run in and smash the things. Yep, Snake is from Metal Gear. And his gear person is Otacon. And is a big weeb. That's the Snake! 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 There's so many memes. I know some of the memes. But yeah. Kingdom Hearts love to run and spam the attack button. Yeah, me too. Also, speaking of incomprehensible plots, good lord. I played the first one. I played some of the second one. I played the first Game Boy Advance one, and that's the end of the Kingdom Hearts games I've played. The Game Boy Advance one is when it started first getting real off-the-wall bonkers. With, like, alternate versions of characters and different people who are connected to them, but not them. And then different versions of those people. And some of them are actually heartless, and it's a whole thing. Yeah, Naminé was from the Game Boy Advance one. She was... I didn't have a lot of interaction with her, because they sort of stuck her behind a wall, and you had to go save her. She had the personality of a wet paper sack in that game, because she was just the MacGuffin, really. But yeah, that's a real bonkers lore that probably rivals the Metal Gear Solid storyline in complexity and twists and turns and shenanigans. Except one of these is, like, a serious, future-y, stealth, shoot-'em-in game, and the other one is Disney and Final Fantasy characters running around being bright colors. What a world. Female characters aren't written the best. Kyrie was okay in the first one. To be fair, kind of everyone in the first one was a wet paper sack, because they didn't know where they were going with it, or if it would be successful. Sora's voiced by Haley Joe Osmond, the I See Dead People. He's done a lot of stuff. Actually. Oh yeah, it reminds me I should take a look at the, KitsuneCon programming and see what's going on Sunday, since I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna get a day pass for, Sunday, because I'm gonna be there for the, tie blanket panel to help run that. I might as well, then, be there for the day. I should see if there's anything interesting going on for other panels. Apparently John St. John's on the program again. I don't know what day. Still have to find a way to get him to, make good on the beers he promised me years ago. So I've seen like 3 different things. Each time that offer has gone up, but I haven't been able to connect. Including at MGC, where he's like, well, if you can find your way into the VIP party. I'm like, alright. So I actually did find my way into a VIP party. It was supposed... It's a Midwest Gaming Classic. It's a classic arcade convention. There was a party that I thought I had access to because I was there helping out with a booth that was apparently just for people who had brought arcades for the arcade thing and whatnot. But I wandered in because I thought I had access, and they weren't checking very closely. And a friend had given me a beer ticket, so I got a beer and wandered in, and then I had some friends that saw me in there and went, "How did you get in?" Like, what do you mean, how did I get in? I came in. And then another friend went, "How did you get in here?" I'm like, okay, how was I supposed to have been gotten in here? Oh, okay. And then I had a second beer ticket from someone else, and had to ask one of my friends politely if they would go out and claim it for me, because if I left, I wasn't sure I would get back in. So I accidentally snuck into the, into one of the parties there. Inadvertently, accidentally snuck into an after party. That is just very me. Pokemon photo shoot on Friday. Oh, I'm sure there'll be some Pokemon Legend Arceus cosplayers. Italian plumber saves a princess from a dragon turtle in medieval castle by eating mushroom stars, riding a dinosaur, and talking to mushroom-headed people. How is that a better story plot? It's more straightforward. It's easier to follow. Also, I've read the instruction booklet on the original NES Mario, and it mentions that the Mushroom Kingdom denizens had been turned into different things, including bricks. So he's really kind of committing mass genocide on his people as he's going through the game and smashing bricks, and I'm concerned about this. And that it doesn't get more attention. If you can find a scan of the original Mario NES instruction booklet, it's right in there. Might have been, it was either 1 or 3. Might have been 3. 3 was weird with the whole play thing. Do you want to actual Kingdom Hearts rundown? Oh god. I don't know if I have the time or focus for an actual Kingdom Hearts rundown. Let's save that for a Don't Starve Day. So I can ask bizarre questions and you can react to my confusion more readily. That sounds fun. I had to message you about that. I will not be able to do that this Friday, but maybe next Friday. But, oh yeah, you're going to Kitsune anyway, so... Aha, logic. But we can agree that whoever came up with the story was doing all the drugs? Yes. Oops, I just tipped that straight into the drain there. This Friday is kind of busy, yeah. Yeah, I figured it out partway through. Kitsune or quarantining, depending on how the test comes back. Well, best of luck. And if you end up quarantining and need anything picked up, just message me. Especially since we know it worked out pretty well for the grocery run last time, so there'll be even less anxiety this time, because I'll know what to expect. It won't just be me being like, okay, I have not done the thing. I'm gonna worry about the thing not correct, but food important, I will figure it out. It's either myself or our mutual friend coworker that lives right by you might be able to otherwise. think what else I had on NES and how weird some of the story was. Star Tropics was comparatively not that weird. Although it did have a kid with a yo-yo as a weapon doing Zelda-ish things, and a really weird puzzle that involved taking the actual instruction book that came with the game and dipping it in water to make a code reveal. So if you rented it or got it secondhand or lost the instructions, you couldn't get past that point pre-internet. With the skull, trying to understand what the skull does and why it seems to fill with blood every now and then. So, yes, that is the tilt meter. So, I'm using the shift keys for my flippers, but I can also use, trying to find a good opportune moment to show it off, I can use WASD to tilt, which actually moves the ball. So you can see it's got the trail there as I'm actually tilting the ball, and then it fills up the... I'm just gonna lose the ball because I'm kind of showing it off here. But it fills up the blood in there, and if it fills, then you tilt. And then it locks out the flippers like it would, I assume, on a... I assume that's what happens. On a regular traditional pinball table. See if I can actually tilt it. I can't actually get it to tilt, but I assume you can. And then it drains back down, and then you're safe again for tilting. But that's what the skull is. That part I know what's going on. Mostly. I don't think I've ever tilted. I don't use the tilt often enough on this. I think it might be because the high gravity on this mode. That's why it's like suspended and it has the spikes around, because the idea is that if you tilt the table too hard, it'll spike the skull. Tilting. So in this, in physical pinball, you could actually pick up the table and nudge it to try to get the ball to go in a direction you wanted. So you'd be, like, it was a physical mechanic of tilting the pinball table itself. But they would put in sensors that if you tilted it too far or too hard, it would basically display an error message of a tilt that you tilt out, and then it would lock the flippers and your ball would drain. So you'd basically lose the ball you were on. So it kind of turned into a strategic thing where you can physically move the table to try to pull off certain shots and save the ball and stuff, but you have to not tilt out completely and lose your ball. So the way they implemented that, in a lot of digital tables, how they do that is it basically will bump the table, which will then have a physics effect on the ball. In this one, because it is a digital from the ground up pinball table, when you tilt, you use the WASD and you influence the direction of the ball itself. Like when I press W, it goes up and you see the ball hop up a bit. It's more let me jump to an easier mode because it'll be more dramatic on a mode with less gravity on the ball. Let's just go to EX mode. So it's you nudge the ball. Sorry, that's the actual thing, is you nudge it. And then the tilt is when it actually locks you out. So in this game, how they show that is with the, they actually show you the meter, so you can make a more strategic decision with it. And that's the visualization of the amount of nudging and how close you are to actually tilting. That's also where, in video gaming, the term tilting out for losing your temper and sort of making a scene that comes from pinball, from tilting out, physically tilting out on the tables. Yeah, if I explain a thing and you still don't understand, please ask for clarification. I do not mind. And if I don't know how to better explain, I will try to give you an idea of where to look for better information than I can provide. But usually I have a few ways to explain things, so it's not a big deal. But I never mind. Very knowledgeable person and impulsively respect that. I'm knowledgeable in specific things. There are definitely things that would be, like, heavy air quote common knowledge, or things that people would normally know that I necessarily don't, because it's not an interest focus of mine. Hashtag just ADHD things. We're gonna have a stretch and a hydrate. So yes, I know lots of random things about random things, and not a ton about things that aren't in my interests, or things that I've personally encountered or had to deal with or look up or etc. Also, I've worked for a very long time in a couple of different places that are retail and heavy customer service focus. Worked at a video game store for a number of years, and then a more traditional board game, card game shop, and a lot of that is very much like assistant shopper, sort of get a feel for what they like and recommend something and know enough about it to talk about it, or how to look up information. Well, Hatter is how we met. Yes. True facts. And I'm so glad we did. Made a lot of friends working there. Customers and coworkers alike. So I moved to this one so you can see the tilt, or the nudge mechanic more dramatically, and then haven't used it, so, you know. Somehow befriended multiple people who work there by just rambling. Yeah. That's fine. We also ramble. I have been trying to turn my ramblings into pseudo-job career thing here, so, you know. Can weaponize my rambling. I mean, monetize my rambling. Did I say weaponize? No. That would be silly. That would make you all accessories. We wouldn't want that. Oh hey, we got a sub-table. Hey, you can actually see this stuff now that I'm on an easier mode. Alright, let's see if I can get anywhere on this one. So I'm trying to hit the gators. The gator clopses there. Ooh, and now these guys. Okay. I don't know if there's anything on the side that's telling me anything useful, but sure as heck I'm not looking at it. Oh, we got some multipliers. Croclops. Well, I saw more of it than last time, so that's good, that's good. pretty sure when you finish out a ritual, it basically just gives you a bonus / multiplier and then starts over. Hey, we got another enemy. Oh, this guy sucks. Those bullets are so annoying to try to avoid. I misread that as Hulyen's Ramble Podcat, which would also be somewhat appropriate. I mean, this basically serves as a podcast, especially like today, where we started off talking about the game we're playing, but sometimes we have random conversation and discussion, and it's good. Playing a game is sometimes just good background to talking about stuff. So what I'm saying is, if you want this as a podcast, just watch VODs without video. And some of it will just not make any sense, but that also seems appropriate somehow, so I wasn't told I had to make sense. That's beyond my pay grade. I lost the ball. As in, I lost where it was with the bullets. Oh, we almost got a high score there. I think I'd feel too much pressure doing, like, an actual, like, setup scripted podcast. Hilariously. I did, improv in middle school and high school. So I'm actually pretty comfortable with just on-the-fly sort of stuff. That does... and a skill set that has actually served me quite well for this sort of thing. But something that's more, like, scripted and edited is a whole different beast. I can do some of that too, but I'm not in a position right now where I would have comfort level or resources. Like, I've helped script a few, like, very, very short things for work and stuff, and that's fine. I may or may not have storyboarded TikToks to make sure that how I wanted it set up came across, and make it easier if I was going to be the one in it and we didn't have enough people. So I set up a storyboard. I lost the ball again with the thing. I'm going to try the visible trail. See if that helps. But yeah, I straight up storyboarded. Because I had a little bit of video and animation class in college. See, it helps a little, but it's also more visual clutter. So it's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other on the visible trail. So it makes it almost harder to see where I'm supposed to be looking on the ball itself. We'll do a few with it and see if I adjust to it. 'Cause I know I've tried it before. I think I like it without, actually. I'm pretty... There's so much going on already visually. I could turn down some of the effects. Maybe that would be a more prudent approach, to try to reduce a little of the visual clutter. Also, there's just an amount of fatigue from playing a game like this for an hour anyway. as far as you hate improv and you're working on it, I bet you're better at it than you think you are because of all of the role-playing you do. Especially like tabletop RPG stuff. That's all just improv. You're just best in text form? That makes sense. Those are different parts of the brain and whatnot that, and different skills, so it, especially if you focus more on, like, either one's medium, I guess, and not another, that it doesn't all translate super well, so it feels like you're bad at one when it's just not as much experience and comfort level. I saw you posted something else, and I'll look at it in a minute. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here. Promise I'm not ignoring. Okay. Tried to get an improv-related stuff, never works out. There's some very specific styles of improv. Dinner detective thing, we had stuff, last time never made it. Some of those you need a real specific skill set and comfort level. Like beyond just improv or acting or whatever, and it's not necessarily easily transferable stuff. Oh, hello, friend. Welcome on in. Yeah, I know you do lots of improvising with storytelling stuff. Finishing up day 2 of Arcade Spirits. It goes in some directions. Are you playing it or watching through the VODs? Playing? Yeah, it's good stuff. My streams will be safe to view again, after Thursday. We're gonna do the last chapter on Thursday. We're playing Demon's Tilt, Occult Pinball Action, because I've been limiting myself to 1 chapter at a time for streaming, so I don't blow out my voice, because I've been voicing everything, because it's fun. Well, it was a tough one to leave on today. Oh. It's been so long since I played it the first time. Because I played it when it first came out, and then it had been long enough to do basically a stream and not really remember the plot points, so that's been fun. But yeah, I've been taking it easy. I've been doing 1 chapter at a time, and then also making some hot tea with honey, and making sure I've been drinking it as we play. But right now I'm looking at Thursday morning doing cross-stitching again, because that was fun. And I got the text sort of figured out now. And then Thursday evening will be Arcade Spirits. And then depending on how long that takes, something else after? It's kind of been just whatever I feel like booting up. I'm doing some Backpack Hero, got an itch to play some Demon Crawl, partly because of all the video game and pinball stuff. We had enough fun with it yesterday that I felt like cracking into some more of it today. If you're not familiar, this is a completely digital pinball table that is... When I say completely digital, I mean it is not based on a physical pinball table. So it does a lot of stuff that a physical pinball table couldn't do, like the bullet hell shooter, for example. Also has some neat tricks and ramps and stuff that, and gimmicks that wouldn't work in a physical table necessarily either. It uses its medium to full advantage, which is very, very cool. It's also got very, very cool music and amazing visuals. It's got different difficulty levels and modes. What's contrast enhance do? We're playing with some of the modes to see if I can get the ball to not get so lost. Nope, this is too different. I don't like this. I'm okay with these. Turn down the bloom a little more. Might help. Ooh, the experimental. Okay. We'll try just turning the bloom down a bit again. Yeah, some of the experimental are to fix FPS issues. Also, this game got certified for Steam Deck, and I know a lot of fixes had to happen for that. It was definitely having some, like, FPS issues. There's a tiny bit of lag on the flippers, but I've just gotten used to it. It's low enough that I can just sort of plan for it. But theoretically, some of those experimental settings might make it go away, but at this point, may as well just roll with the muscle memory I got. No! Different bad, different scary. Also, this is very much the sort of game that has a lot of discovery as you play. It tells you a few basics, and that's it. It doesn't even tell you how all of the features and gimmicks work. It wants you to learn by playing it. I mean, and also, obviously, if you like pinball, I highly recommend this game. If the idea of a pinball bullet hell appeals to you, give this one a look. Oh, haha, saved it. I think this is one that went onto my radar when it first came out, just by the concept. And then I didn't pick it up and kind of forgot about it for a while, and then it got back onto my radar, and yep, here we are. No! Not pinball. Say, I'm just gonna watch the ball flip around on the upper level on its own there, with no input from me whatsoever. Oh yeah, and one of the more unique things is the nudge feature, where you don't nudge the table, you nudge the ball itself, but it still has a tilt function if you go too ham with it. That's the lower right corner skull mobobber there, telling you how close you are to tilting. And then we discussed some fun, nerdy etymology and bizarre storylines and weird video games and just random shenanigans. It's been a fun time. I would check to see what the ritual wants, but I'm afraid to look away from the ball at the moment. Alright, let's look. Okay, Zodiac we haven't started. Pop bumpers for the middle level, and then gore demons for the bottom level. Okay. So you do rituals to fill out the letters on the levels. The ritual start is always the same ramp for each level, but you you cycle through different features that it wants you to hit to continue. So every now and then it's nice to take a peek at what it wants me to be going for if I am in a position which I can try to aim. Spend Pachi Balls? I think that's the magic casting thing. So I think I need to get into the cup. So I think that's what's collecting in the bottom there. And then she uses them to cast. She does green things. I have a vague understanding of this game. Oh, now we hit a sub-table. There's a lot going on in this game. It's great. There's a lot going on in a sort of overwhelming way, but in an approachable way. This game, I always say this game rewards skill and practice. Like, this game will reward you for spending time with it. And for learning any of its features in any degree. Which is very satisfying. Nope, goodbye. I'm not very good at that room. I've only come across it a few times. Last time we were on it long enough to get multiplier. That was fun. The big thing about this game is ways to get multiplier, to get astronomical scores. That is not a thing that I am currently capable of, but I am aware that that's how you get high scores in this game. Also, one thing to know is that the pink bullets will absolutely kill your ball momentum, and that can make you quite dead. Nope, that didn't... Okay, so I somehow spent 2? 4? I don't understand what is being requested of me for that ritual. Doesn't mean we won't figure it out or I won't eventually learn it, but I currently have no concept of what it's requiring of me. Arcade spirits are proving to be a gentle, sweet, compassionate soul. Being typecast, I swear. Me too. It's fine. I really like the level of romance that you get to pick at the beginning of that game. That you can just do full-on be friends. Oh, that game has been so very calling me out. The amount of calling out that has happened in that game is absurd. I'd be mad if I wasn't so impressed with the writing. Part of the problem and part of the learning process of this game is when they use nomenclature. and trying to learn through playing and kind of paying attention what they actually are. Like, the gore demons are the ones that are circling her head. And I just kind of learned through a process of elimination and being able to watch what incremented when I needed it as a goal. But when you don't have a frame of reference for spend bocce balls, still working on that one. I don't know what they are to know how to spend them, or when I'm doing so, or what triggers it. I thought I had an idea of it, and I didn't. But that's just how this game goes. I am okay with that. Roll pictures, phone, open up space for pictures to begin. Pictures. You gave you the Great Phantom Thief card. Oh yeah, that's right, because I found that and went, oh hey, ha, I got this for you. This seems relevant to your interests. I'd forgotten about that. I do still have a Yu-Gi-Oh card in my purse though, because the name is Tim Dangle D-Holes, and I needed to own it. Because I saw the name, and it had to happen. So I can pull a Yu-Gi-Oh card out of my purse and go, what up, Tindangle D-Holes? Apparently Tindangle is an archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh has some wild stuff going on. Whoop, goodbye. It really do. Yep. It's either terrifying nightmare fuel or the most adorable things ever, and there's no in between in that game. Like, as far as art goes, it's wild. Just finished watching Zexal. Is that the one with the XZ's stuff? I'm sort of familiar with some of the mechanics in that game. Yes? Haha! I got a thing right. I played an amount of the Duel Links mobile game and it taught me some of the game mechanics. You might enjoy Duel Links. It's, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Light mobile game. Like, take all the starting numbers for a regular duel and have them with a more limited library and make it into a mobile game. And also when you get to a certain level, you can just hit auto-duel buttons, so I kind of learned a lot of stuff by trying to muddle through against the AI the best I could. And then when I no longer understood what was happening or what I should do, I just hit auto-duel and tried to pay attention. Phone just does not have the space. It's on Steam as well. It's a free download. And you can connect to your account if you ever do have phone version. But yeah, Duel Links, not Master Duel. Master Duel is like legit Yu-Gi-Oh! Digital version, and it does not do a good job of teaching you, because I tried. And I got very overwhelmed. And very, very lost. Apparently if you know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, Master Duel is real good. Ooh, we got another sub-table here. Wow. Wow, there are eyeballs up there. Okay, let's try to not immediately die and figure out what we're doing. I lost the ball, because there were a lot of things happening. I was trying to watch what was happening, and I really can't right now. I need to just shoot and not lose the ball and hope for the best. Oh, I should have cradled. I saw the bullets coming in. Well, I got to see a sweet demon for a little bit. Hachi reward. I saw that, so that... doing green rings and stuff, so that might be connected, like I thought. Hey, we're back to the... Oh, hey, it looks like it kept where I was. That's cool. Wah! Okay. Y'all saw that, right? I only know some of what's... I'm only doing some of what's happening here on purpose. Okay, so I have to hit the pop bumper eyes in the middle if I can. We'll see about that. Ah! Lost it in the bullets again. It's making you come up with an event name. Yeah, I just went with the default one because it was pretty good. Evil Skull Clown. That's Bale, apparently. There's no way that isn't a Unreal Tournament reference. Multi-kill. Maybe I'll somehow trigger it again, because I'm not actually sure how I've been triggering the bonus rooms. Something about having a bonus token and it being accepted. That's as far as I can say definitively. And it happened when I went through the snake ramp. No, no, no. Aww. Well, that was a good score. Alright, we're gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna call it for the night. This may come back as a random, I'm not sure what to finish a stream or what to stream. As long as y'all don't mind some Satan pinball. Oh no, Iris, what have you done? Yeah. Nobody answer that. Or expound. Things and stuff indeed. Don't worry about it. It's the obvious answer there. And then as you play through, at any point, feel free to tell me all about it and who you're interacting with and all those things because it's great. Because I've only done 2 paths. I've done romance, but with, well, 1 person and 1 in progress. And then there's a sequel that we'll play eventually. I don't know a ton about it, but the first one's so good that I imagine the sequel is also amazing. Nope, goodbye. Nope. Saw that going. There we go. That's the ramp I was trying to get to. We hit the Matryoshkas. Alright, got the first one done. Trying to be more purposeful on some of this so I can learn it. So I've put in enough time that I feel like I'm actually sort of learning some of it. Not necessarily getting, like, competent at it, but I'm learning it. I'm building muscle memory for, some of the shots in particular. The font callout? Yeah, the font callout's hilarious. You know my opinions on the matter. Oh, I'm sure we've had that conversation several times. Let's be honest. Alright, final ball. I also love that this is a pinball game with one table that is so deep that I have absolutely no problem sinking a couple hours into it. There's so much depth. It's so tightly programmed. The physics are spot on. I think lowering the bloom to almost none did a lot of good with making it easier for me to keep track of the ball. So I wasn't losing it very often, but now I'm losing it less often. Which, I mean, is just gonna happen on this sort of table. Alright. Let it run through our score there. This was a fun run. We put up a good score here. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. And thanks so much for hanging out. I will be back. I'm planning on Thursday morning for more cross-stitch. And then Thursday evening we'll finish out Arcade Spirits, and then we'll see if we play something else after. Depends on how long Arcade Spirits takes and how much time we have left.